Yes, because I'd like the sport to grow, okay? I'd like to see my athletes compete more often. What kind of sport has 2 events a year? Jesus competes twice. He competes twice every year. He's the greatest. He's the most watchable athlete in the sport. He competes twice. You get to see him twice.
Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, December 29th. This is Listen for Command. We got a great or terrible show coming up, depending on how you slice it. We've got Andrew Cargill. I'm going to invite him in here shortly. Hello.
Hey Sebastian, how you doing, man?
Oh, man. Good. How are you? How was the
Good, good.
holidays?
Oh,
How was the holidays?
it was good. Can't complain. Went to Florida for a bit. Got to hang out with grandma, and we just came back 2 days ago.
Oh, so you were out of town.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just a small little trip.
I told my producer Brendan as soon as I saw that your guys' state meet, I'm like, oh, we got to have him on. I want to talk about that for sure. I also want to talk about some other stuff. So
Yeah,
I actually have a lot of I wanted to talk to someone I actually respected about the drug testing topic because I don't care
yeah,
what athletes think about it. I don't care what people who aren't doing really anything for the sport other than competing or care
yeah,
about it. I don't really care what their opinion is. I want to know what a director, or I want to at least know someone who's actually volunteering. Even if
yeah,
someone's volunteering, I would take their opinion. But I just don't care. I just it's like I don't want to be that guy who says like you can't have an opinion if everyone should have an opinion. You should take everyone's opinion, but like you're not actively shaping the sport, so I don't really care like what you have to say. So I want to get into that a little bit, and maybe some other things about like the future of local meets and stuff. But tell us about that meet. I think the venue was the obviously what stuck out the most. Tell us about that and how that all came to be.
yeah. So we just hosted our Georgia State Championships. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. Um, and we hosted it. It was the biggest meet in Georgia that for Powerlifting America we've ever hosted. It was 105 people, I believe was the final number. And our biggest meet before that was 42, which was actually our state meet last year. So we've had about 150% increase in 1 year, which I'm pretty happy about for our state meet, going from 42 one platform one session to a two platform two session full meet. Uh, Turned out great. Kind of like you said, we went to a nicer venue for this one for sure. It was actually a last minute change. We changed it from Alpharetta High School, which still would have been a good venue and kind of worked out, but we kind of decided, you know what, this was a bigger number of athletes than we expected. Let's make it a good meet. And it worked out that the new event was actually it was less than a mile away from the previous venue. So it's kind of worked out where, all right, we're swapping venue, but we're not messing up with anybody. We're not ruining someone's like travel plans if you already got hotels or anything like that. So it kind of worked out perfectly. But the venue we used was Phase Event Center, where it looks pretty good in the photos and videos. Topset Media's done a fantastic job. Them kind of coming out and stuff. There was a lot of stuff we wanted to change with it. It was finally we had an opportunity to use an LED screen, and I felt like we didn't get to use it to the degree we wanted to.
Yeah,
But
I think we'll definitely get to
yeah,
that because I want to ask about that. But continue.
yeah. I mean, it was awesome. It was definitely a stressful event. Just we had a lot of things building up. It was a big meet. It was the biggest meet we've hosted in almost like 3, maybe 4 years. We hosted a Savannah Showdown in USAPL a handful of years ago. That was the same thing, two platform, two session. But this was for us, like PA, us kind of growing our brand in the state has been we want to show nothing but quality. Like we want to show what can we do, what like we need to show off kind of. And I think we've done that with our previous meets, Atlanta Open, Valhalla Weights. I feel like that's kind of how we've shown off quality, and we're like states needs to be the same thing. So we kind of went crazy with it, and it was actually really not funny at the moment, but it was good. It's funny now just looking back. So the venue we had worked out, they had an event Friday night, so we weren't allowed to set up the main competition room until morning of.
Ah!
Um,
Ah!
yeah. So,
I don't know if you
look,
guys know anything about event directing. Oh my god, I've
yeah,
done that one time,
yeah,
and that was only with like a crew of like
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, and so me and Friday we were able to set up the warm up room. So it's just me and my dad. We had a first truck loaded up on Thursday. So we pull up Friday morning, unload it, start setting up most of it. Then we go load up the second truck, come back, unload. We get about 85% of it done that night. Then we had to show up there 4:30 in the morning to set up the main competition room. And that was a that was an early wake up call because we had to be up at around 3 o'clock just to get everything ready, make sure all paperwork's lined up, all volunteers are ready. Luckily, we did have some help from UAB. Their college came down and helped us out a lot, so we got them hotel nights the night before, and they ended up coming in early in the morning, helping us finishing up and setting up.
Yeah, so I want to backtrack a little.
Yeah,
So what caused the switch from the? I mean, obviously it was an upgrade, so
yeah,
nothing like caused it. But like,
yeah.
what was the reason for things transitioning from that venue to this venue? Like, what sprung the opportunity?
So one is definitely just the overall size of the competition it grew. We were truly expecting it to be, we were hoping for 72 athletes. Like that was kind of like a, okay, we could do 72 and then we could, so like the high school we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We could break down the day after. But we're like, okay, we could do a one platform, 3 session meet, but do them 2 flights where it's 24, 24, 24. So it's kind of a smooth moving day. But then we got to 100 and we're just kind of like, we don't we don't see how we could really do this where it's going to run as smoothly as we want to and people be happy. Like our biggest thing is every small thing is going to matter, and if you the small things where it's all right, hey, I'm bumping into flight A as they're leaving while flight B is trying to get out to the kind of staging area, we're kind of like now we're about to double the amount of people with 2 platforms kind of transitioning at a time. So we kind of were like, all right, we kind of have to do this, and we luckily work with the city of Alpharetta a lot, and they've been fantastic. They've kind of helped directed us, like, hey, they're and they've told us about this place before, so we kind of reached out to them, kind of touch base, trying to work things out. And it just so happened they had a previous event that canceled, literally like 2 days before we reached out. So it was kind of like a perfect. This
Oh,
is a
perfect.
perfect opportunity. Oh yeah, perfect opportunity. We don't get those all the time, and it's nice when things just kind of work out.
Yeah, no, the event was so good that
Yeah.
USAPL was taking credit for it. Like that's how you know.
It makes me so happy. Like that's a it's funny. We didn't. Nobody noticed until the day after the story had been posted for 22 hours. I didn't get told anything until that 22-hour mark by our guy from North Carolina that does our shirts. He sends me a screenshot and is like, "Dude, like this has been up. They're taking credit for it." And I mean, I try and find the guy, and it's just been up there. I'm like, I don't know how to respond to this. It was sorry, quick sidetrack, but it's a we were unloading the truck when we saw that. And I mean, it's the day after the meet. Me, my
Oh,
dad, and my
you guys
sister
were like,
actually.
what the? These motherfuckers.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no, we're so
I
we're
can't
we're on
imagine
our we're on our
dad
death.
either.
We're on our deathbeds. I'm like, dude, the sucks. We're doing pallet jacks up and down the thing. We see that. We start losing our minds. Like, oh my gosh. Like it was the funniest thing ever. It really annoying that they took credit for it.
Yeah, I
But
would say I would full disclaimer
yeah,
like it was a repost of someone else who thought it was a USAPL meet.
which I don't understand how you think that
Because
because I saw the guy.
no. So like when people tag me and
Yeah,
shit, sometimes I don't like for the gym. Sometimes I don't look. Like I'll be honest, and so I was like that's it's just funny. It's like actually
yeah.
almost good because now we get to like make a bunch of fuss about it.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious to me.
So yeah,
Well, so sorry. This the real part it's funny about. We got a cease and desist from USAPL a long time ago, just about because we were kind of doing some marketing things for PA early on. So to then see them reposting our stuff and taking credit after stuff we kind of worked on, it's just a really funny.
yeah.
So it was, yeah, that was
No, right.
funny.
You go.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, that was definitely like a shot of adrenaline. We were kind of packing up, like, okay, this is fine. We kind of finished packing up, like, all right, it was just a funny situation, in my opinion.
Yeah. For those of you asking questions about drug testing, I know that's a hot button topic. That's literally That's why I captioned the thing on purpose. We will get to. I will like scroll back and we'll talk about that stuff. Obviously, I know it's kind of it's it's a huge topic,
Yeah.
and a lot of people want to talk about it. But I want to talk about the event stuff first, and then we'll circle back around to that. Because it does obviously. I don't know about concern, but it does affect both of us as local directors. And we could talk a little bit about how things used to be too with USAPL, speaking of that. But yeah, I all in all, I mean, that's what I've wanted to move events. And I pretty much decided that I'm done doing events inside my gym. My gym is awesome, but it's just, it's still not, it's like putting a square peg into a round hole. It's a gym. It's not made for glamorous events. And that's kind of what we are moving towards. And for me, when I put all the numbers in and I do all the economics, I can make a pretty good amount of money if I do an event in a venue. Now, obviously, loading in and loading out is a total pain.
Yeah.
But that's just part of doing business at this point. So I love that. Are you guys going to plan on doing more events in venue? Is that your future plan, or are you going to do gym stuff still?
So
what do you see as the future?
A big goal of ours, and we've been good of it for this the past 2 years. We haven't hosted a meet in a gym in 2 years now. Kind of our big thing is that we can walk in anywhere and we can drop a meet, because I mean we have the equipment, and pretty much if we get one box truck, we could drop out about a full meet. Our plan is to continue doing that and doing higher level ones. It's definitely trying to just figure out how to make it happen. So right now, Georgia's growing, which is awesome, and we've got other local meat people as well. Fueled Factory is hosting a meet, which is a gym that recently opened up in July or June of this year. They're hosting one in January. That'll be exciting. DNA is doing another one in May.
I think I'm
Um,
actually going to do that one.
yeah, that one will be fun. Advances
Yeah,
is sponsoring it.
I love that meet. I was like, I'll probably do it again. I also like Georgia and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good. I mean, Avantis is sponsoring. They're giving away TSS racks, cash prizes. That'll be a fun meet overall. For us, it's definitely us trying to figure out our market areas still, just because like doing it in gym, I feel like there has to be me. I used to be we can't do meets in gyms anymore. Like that's just not how it's gonna go. But now I've kind of looked at it, it's like that's how we're gonna grow it. Like we have to have them still in gyms, and kind of that local level needs to grow bigger in order for the sport to gain traction. But to me, that's just not what we do. We try to go crazy, and we want to bring a production. Like we're in March, we're going to the Dalton Convention Center, and we're doing our Gauntlet of Power Sports Festival there, and we're gonna go stupid with it. Like we're excited. We've already got different design models for it. Planning Atlanta Open this year. We got a couple ideas where we've got a venue in mind right now. We're like, this will be like because Atlanta Open would be a local meet.
The
Like
aquarium. The aquarium.
nah.
That would be.
We've looked at the
You'd
aquarium
have to do a separate meet, but if you could find a way to do a meet,
in
like
front of us.
you've been to the aquarium, right?
Yeah.
If you find
Yes.
a way to do a meet in front of that big, the world's largest piece of, it's literally the world's largest piece of plexiglass. If you could find a way to do a meet there, there's like seating bowl there too.
Yeah.
I
do not think I could afford. I don't know.
No. There has to be a way.
I don't know.
We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this off the air.
I'll talk to the city. I'll talk to the city and see if they can make something happen.
I guarantee they'd let you do that. I guarantee if someone has done something there too. That would be like that. They like doing cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
They like
I'll
showcase. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm willing, but that costs minimum 30-40 grand. Minimum. Oh yeah. See, like Atlanta, I'm very familiar with like the pricings of everything now. Like just because we've touched literally every venue in Georgia, pretty much, at least in the Metro Atlanta area. Like that's a minimum 30-40K. Wouldn't surprise me if it was more. I know it may sound crazy, but I mean, there's the Georgia International Congress Center. I've reached out to them before, and one day without any of like the electrical or hourly, just the base daily rental is $40,000 a day, and that's for like one floor, one room. That's not even a move-in day. That's not a move-out day. That's not the
So
staff workers you have to pay to be there. It's
so I
insane.
just I get it.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. Let me be crazy,
Hey.
okay? You can rent it, but the only problem I'm looking at right now is I just don't think the footprint is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the picture right now. I
We've
don't.
looked at the Georgia Aquarium. We've looked at the Coca-Cola. Uh,
That's cool too. Yeah. Yeah.
One place we're wanting to do, we don't know if it will happen for sure yet, is the Coca-Cola Roxy, which is we're kind of looking at concert venues. The Coca-Cola
Yeah.
Roxy is a concert venue. Just kind of just
That
looking at them.
so if you really think about powerlifting, so I look at there's amazing churches around me. Like these are
You told me
these are
about that, and I've
these are
tried reaching out.
insane. These venues are crazy. They have full. Okay, it would be the best live stream in powerlifting history because the
Oh yeah,
setups they have are more
insane.
expensive than all of powerlifting combined. And so, like, I imagine in Georgia, in the Bible Belt, you're going to find some stuff like that too.
Oh, we've got mega churches everywhere, and I've reached out to. You've told me this before, and I've reached out to all of them. Just none of them really want to do that. They're like, we don't know what this is. I'm like,
Right? No, no, no,
please.
no. So you need to find. There are churches that specific. So, I don't want to be too like churches that are more
Yeah,
serious aren't going to let you do that. But there are other churches that like aren't as serious that literally rent out their spaces for events.
yeah.
So you just like I think if you just looked up church rentals in Atlanta, you might be able to find what you're looking for. Because and also like do this like look at where bodybuilding shows have been because bodybuilding's a bit more established. It's the exact same venues, right? So I'm pretty sure you'd be able to find something. Yeah, man, I'm looking at in Naperville alone. I see all this stuff that's by me.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll look again for the because that would be a good. We've got another one that's a theater style that we're heavily debating for Atlanta Open again.
the
It's just
only reason
pricing.
I say that is because they're just so much more, I guess, charitable. They're not trying to rip you
Yeah,
off. They're just charging you what it costs.
yeah.
I,
But they
I
want to make sure their stages are safe and everything, all that.
yeah, I can. Yes, exactly. And then what's actually good is the church that I work with, that I'm going to be working with going forward. The pastor works out at
Oh,
Purdue,
the
so
need.
it helps. It helps with some of the stuff
Yeah,
we want to do. But yeah, I think the future is definitely outside. Well, so this kind of segues into another conversation I want to have about what a local meet is supposed to be. So I got a lot of shit because I compared a local meet to this pickup softball league I play in. And I think I maybe used the wrong word calling it pickup. Like, I pay a fee to play in this softball
yeah,
league, and I do it for fun. Like, the same way I paid to go do the DNA Legacy last year, and I had fun, right? And so I'm like pretty pissed. I'm like, guys, it is the same thing. I don't care that you prepped for 12 weeks for this. If that doesn't change the fact that it's recreational. It's supposed to be fun.
yeah,
98% of lifters are recreational.
yeah,
They do this for fun. They'll never go to a national. So like we do need to strike a balance between meets that are for fun, so people can
yeah.
qualify for nationals
You're good.
and compete against themselves, and local meets that are more competitive. Right, local meets where people are facing against each other. Because right now, like, I was the only one in my weight class.
Yeah.
Like, there's no competition. Like, so, like, I guess how do we strike a balance between those meets that are for fun and the meets that are more competitive at the local level?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you, and I mean, it's a it's a hard thing to I should say to talk about, but I mean, like you and me, we're thinking of the next come ups of what meat should be and how they should differ. I think kind of same thing as you like comparing to the softball league. I compare it to my sisters do competitive cheerleading, and like I compare it to that all the time. Like their
Yep.
competitions, their practices, like how it kind of works and functions. There's like recreation. There's a little more. I say calmer. It's still crazy, but like you could do your middle school cheerleading, your high school cheerleading, and it's still good. But then like my sister that do competitive cheerleading, like they pay to do these high end events. Like they travel all over the country for it. And I mean, we're starting to get like powerlifting's grown so much where we have those athletes where we can call it 80 GL, 90 GL, or 100 GL, whatever. There's becoming such an abundance of those athletes. They want to be competitive. Like that's their goal. They're going to want to go to higher grade competitions. And I mean, in order for those to happen, like for us, like us doing a meet in a gym is completely different from us doing a meet at a venue. Like, I mean, you get the expenses are just exponentially higher. Like, it's way higher. Like, we
Right.
pay way more for a venue. We pay way more for transportation. We normally have to get refs in the state. Like, Georgia's still growing, so like I had to pay for hotel rooms for Alabama college kids. Our referees from North Carolina, South Carolina coming down. Like it's a whole nother thing, but it's a like our state meet. It looked pretty good. Overall, everyone gets consequences. I wasn't happy with the state meet. Like I wasn't happy with how it turned out. I wanted it to be different, but it is what it is. But the overall kind of statement is like I think there needs to be you've got the local meets that should grow it. That's what should be in the gyms. Like you have the local meets that should be in the gyms. That's what should be growing the community. And the gym's goal from that should be to either grow your coaching clientele. Like most gyms nowadays have their coaches, and if they don't, I think they really need to push on it more. They need to push more on having your own in-house coaching, whether it's powerlifting, whatever. Push on it more so that if you have these, a lot of these people is a lot. It's still a lot of people where it's their first competition. Like it's kind of, I'm happy to see it, but like our state meet, I think 10 to 20% of them where it's their first competition. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it was their
Twenty
state meet was
percent, yeah, 20%.
yeah,
I mean, that can be a lot as a director to have that many people who've never
yeah,
competed, and then now it's not even at a gym, so it's not even like as homey.
yeah,
But I think you just go back. You struck it on the head. I mean, the local recreational meets need to be at
yeah,
gyms and need to be fun and low frills and maybe a bit lower cost.
yeah,
And we do need and that's kind of where I think you guys fit in. You guys fit in. You're in that second tier where you're running highly competitive meets at venues um, that maybe are a little bit more competitive
yeah,
than local meets. I think that's kind of where everything I think lands.
yeah. I mean, it's a hard thing to sell. Like, I mean, end of the day, we host local meets. Like that's what we are. I don't see the value in paying for a signature sanction yet. Like I think it's a great idea, but it's going to cost you.
So the problem with the signature sanction is the equipment
Yeah,
provisions. Like that's like we can't the equipment provisions, and you can tell me what your problems are. The equipment provision is my biggest problem right now because people are already pissed about that to begin with, that they have to have IPF approved equipment to like do
yeah,
nationals, and like I understand why. I
yeah,
don't. You got to make money. The money goes back to the athlete, so it's
yeah.
not like that big. We're basically taxing companies to give us as athletes money. I don't complain about that at all. Like anyone who complains about that is silly. But when you're talking about a local-ish level
Yeah.
meet, to require that, that's a bit of a questionable thing. And everything else, I just don't. I don't know. Maybe national records is actually
Yeah.
something that.
So I kind of disagree. Just because we're no longer at a local level now for these events. Yes, it's going to be hosted by a local meet director, pretty much. Like until PA grows to that level where they're like, okay, we have divisional people. Like, all right, hey, you handle the Northeast signature sanctions. I handle the Southeast signature sanction. Like until that's a thing, it's going to be a local person running them. But I think I like the IPF equipment required thing because for me, Georgia, like we have a lot of brand new lifters. Most of them normally end up having IPF approved equipment. Like SBD is just taken over, and I think
Oh,
that's what.
I don't think it's that big of an issue. I
Yeah,
just think
like I
I
think it's
don't think
good.
it's I don't think
Yeah,
it's major. Maybe don't
yeah,
don't get me wrong on that.
yeah,
But I just think like Pioneer,
yeah,
you literally couldn't wear
yeah.
Pioneer, and so like that's a bigger brand and stuff. And if we're trying to get some more competitive athletes over, that might be. Yeah, I don't know. I
My
can see it either.
my biggest thing is the cost on it as well, because not only is it the like there's the fee to actually do it, which I think is a little crazy, but I can understand why they did it. But then it's all right, I have to have a jury, I have to have a live stream. The jury's going to cost me thousands of dollars just to get in the hotels, pay for some of these referees to either fly in or travel in, because you have to have like a minimum of a one cat two. It's probably more than that. You have to have a couple of them, but then you need national referees. So I need a minimum of 5 to 6 national referees, and at least 1 to 2, preferably if I'm gonna want to be ideal, I want at least like 2 to 3 Cat 2 referees or Cat 1 to make sure it's a very well run. But now I've got a live stream thing, which I'm sure they'll want to have like certain replay features, which I'm just not able, like I don't know how to do that yet. It's something I'd love to kind of tap into a little bit more, but that's now another thing on my plate I gotta deal with. It's a this thing that would have been really nice and cool to have is now a pretty much another $2,500 I got to plan in. While if I'm doing a signature sanction, I want to do it at a nice venue. I want to do it at a nice thing, anyways, because it's signature sanction. You're going for national records, prize pool, or it's at a sports festival. Like it's gonna be a nicer venue. I'm already paying more for that. Now I'm paying more to get things over there. But now you want me to do like pay another 2,500 just to make one of the prerequisites. I can understand the jury though. I think it's definitely I think it's still a great idea. I think it's just a little bit more organization. If you had people you trust, PA had specific individual meet directors, they could be like, hey, let's try and get this going. Let's see if we can work this out. Like us being in Southeast, they're like the Powells that did SBD Raleigh, just kind of be like, hey, we'd like to do like 1 or 2 signature sanctions around here. PA's going to maybe help support a little bit on it. Now, obviously, they'll never do that, but it's a kind of idea I think that what could be pushed when you've got such deep estates like Georgia's got a handful of athletes that are over 100 GL now. Florida's got a handful. Carolinas, Alabama. And I'm sure the same for the Northeast. Like it's just you're starting to have these higher level athletes where competing in a gym isn't really like that.
All right, hold
But
hold on, hold on. I got to respond to your dad. I don't think a local beat director could pull off a signature sanction without major corporates.
I mean,
Try
I
me.
agree.
Try me. Try me. Try me.
Well, I mean, hey, if you're not in a sports festival,
I pulled off crazier things.
well, the thing is, if you're not in a sports festival, you have to have a $5,000 prize pool too. So you have to plan in 7,500 pretty much for these
So
baseline requirements.
right. So we've talked about this before. Obviously, owning the facility is a huge
But that's that
yeah. Obviously, owning the facility is a huge advantage. Yeah. So I guess
Yeah.
when you start to add in the transportation of all those referees and stuff, yeah, it's pretty like God. It's all so. I think one thing you guys are discounting, and I think because you guys have such good hearts, is the ability to raise your prices. And so
we've talked about that.
if you want, if you can literally do anything if you charge the right amount. But you have to provide value in exchange for that money. You have to charge, dude. I promise you. So you've heard of the Ghost Clash, right? In Miami.
Oh yeah.
He charges $250 per entry.
Wow.
And it's a 3-day meet with 2 sessions per day. And they're doing it in a bar.
Yeah.
They're not doing it anywhere crazy. They do it in a bar.
Yeah.
And it's like I promise.
Wow.
Now, I think 250 is like highway robbery. I think the prize pool is pretty juicy though. I think it's like a $20,000 prize pool.
And I
But
mean, they are a respected brand. Like that's not even like the brand, but that's a very known competition. Unfortunately, like us, I love my company. I like to think we've done low is the unfortunate side of it, and we're starting to approach national level registration fees. That's what scares so many people. Like one of our competitors, they charged within $10 of their state meet was within $10 of their like nationals. I think it might have been more expensive for the early registration comparably, but that's just but I mean people are signing up for it. I mean the competitor I'm talking about, I mean they've got a bunch of athletes. It's just how we can sell it because PA is still growing in Georgia. It's obviously grown a good bit, but for us to be able to do that, um, to charge that without the expectation of us losing too many athletes. Like for us, we're starting to get more local
right, so
meets.
it wouldn't just be a Georgia thing. People would
Yeah,
if
that'd
you
be the
ran a
hope and
meet,
goal.
if you ran a meet like that, I would do it. I would start with a 1-day meet,
Yeah.
and it would literally only be top pros, but you're already looking at $10,000 in basically in money.
Oh yeah, easily.
And so that doesn't even include ticketing and anything like that. But I don't want to get too far on that. I do want to answer this question. He said, I've wondered if releasing a meet budget actually looks like would work. Here's what ticket fees, etc., are going to. So, I mean,
Oh, I'm trying. I'm trying to get back and read that. I'm curious.
yeah. I mean, I can tell you just off the top of my head. I mean, actually, believe it or not, meets don't have a ton of line items, especially because I own most of the stuff. Like, when talking about my meets, like you've got your medals, you've got your T-shirts, which are paid for. I charge for T-shirts.
Yeah.
You've got your drug testing fee, you've got your lifting cast fee, you've got your staff. My budget's on my numbers. It's not on my Google Sheets, so I can't pull it up right now because I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
But like, if you charge about $150 for entry, you're looking at like a 30% profit margin, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Depending on what venue rental, depending on the transportation costs and stuff like that. So like for me, I'm like when I start doing meets outside of venues, I'm gonna get a trailer. So I'll just own a trailer. So I'll be able to transport everything that way. But then you have to pay kids to come help unload and load stuff.
Which is definitely worth it.
Yes.
We've tried doing it on our own several times, and it's much more worth it to find.
So I have a massive bartering infrastructure. Like I can barter meet entries, I can barter gym memberships, I can barter supplements, cheese. Like I have everything you could possibly want. I will trade.
Yeah.
Personal training, I will trade everything for anything. So like I barter quite a bit. Is Jonathan in here? I bartered Jonathan. Jonathan's gonna ref a session for me, and I traded him a meet entry. Perfect. Yeah. He made $150 and I saved 100. So everyone wins in that situation. So yeah, I barter massive. Small business, learn to barter. Everyone wins. Everyone won. Everyone saved money. Actually, I don't think whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't care. So yeah. I mean, I think we could probably experiment a little more with what we charge and stuff. I think $250 is crazy. I think we jumped. That was too big of a jump. I think like if you're charging $150 and every other local meet is charging $150, you can charge $75 for a venue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's people are going to pay the extra $20. You're competing 2 times a year. Pay the extra $20, better experience. That's my logic. If people don't follow that logic, that's fine. But I know the most lucrative, I'll tell a story. The most lucrative meet I ever ran was a 3-day, 150 lifter meet where it was $150 per entry. So like the economics are there. If you did the math on that, like that's a lot of money to be, and that actually is what kickstarted everything I did. That paid for all the combo racks, all the kilos. I have 12 sets of kilos. I have 13 combo racks. I have all the bars. Like that kickstarted everything. I used all that money to fund everything. So like, and that was USAPL, right? And so we will get back to that. Like we will. It's just we're in a cycle because we decided to jump ship. Like we're in a cycle where like we have to wait for that to die off and people to come back. And because like remember, people were riding that wave and they joined, right? And they joined and they tried it and then they left the sport. So we need to catch the next wave of new people entering the sport. Does that make sense?
No, I agree.
Like what I think people discount right now is that we're in kind of a valley, right? The sport was getting really, really popular post-COVID. All those people joined, and then there's really no reason, if you're not elite, there's no reason to continue, so you drop off, right? So now there will be a second wave, maybe Sheffield pops off or something gets people's attention, and there'll be another wave, and then PA will be able to capture that wave because we will be, we are now, we have to catch a wave. Like I think people like constantly think the sport's growing, and it's not. It goes in waves.
Oh yeah.
And so right now we're kind of in the bottom of a wave, and so you need to be patient and wait for the next upswing, right? Because
with Nats and everything about to come up, Sheffield, like you're about to get that whole marketing scheme where, I mean, look at anytime after Sheffield, you notice a influx and a memberships to just overall powerlifting community, no matter the federation. Like Sheffield was a capturing event for almost everybody. If you're in fitness, you pretty much saw Sheffield, at least for relatively strength training. You probably saw it and it sparked your interest, I'd say. Not a large community.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if people. So this goes for any business, and it doesn't just go for Sheffield. Is that I think because of our algorithms, we are going to see all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Most
yeah, of
people's
course.
algorithms, if you're not into powerlifting, aren't going to see that. It's never going to reach you. The only reason Sheffield, not last year, but the year before, was so powerful is because Jesus did what he did.
Yeah.
Right? That penetrated out into the ether. We haven't had any moments like that. We haven't had any moments like that since then, where it actually penetrated out into the mainstream. It just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So, like, we need him to do it again, basically. Okay, I want to answer this question. First thought is whether the CBS Sports deal will have a major impact on, for lack of a better term, awareness for the sport. God, I don't want to be just negative Nancy, but, like, the problem with CBS Sports is that people don't watch that channel.
Yeah.
There's nothing on that channel. I'm a massive sports fan, okay? Not one major program is on CBS Sports. So the main issue is they just chose the wrong partner.
Yeah.
And they also didn't negotiate any social media exposure into that deal. So if they had, within that deal, negotiated a series of like 20 or 30 posts, hey, this is what happened, like highlights into that, I think it would have been worth it. No question. And also it's always worth it because the sponsors actually covered the cost of that deal. So for those who don't know. And honestly, they should be more transparent about that. They should be like, hey, sponsors covered the deal. So it was revenue neutral. But I just would have been, I just wish they, honestly, 1 hour on ESPN would have been more valuable than however much airtime they got from CBS Sports. Now, CBS Sports does have experience with strength sports because they do World's Strongest Man. So I think that's where the connection was.
Yeah.
I think it was, oh, they did World's Strongest Man, let's do CBS Sports. Now, I've been an advocate a long time that that's the wrong route. Unless we actually sign a legit deal and they pay us for our sports rights, what we should do is we should be developing our own streaming app. So we stream all of our events on an app and we charge $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
Because if every PA member had that subscription, it would be $50,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that would be $600,000 a year, and that would be larger than the Sheffield prize pool.
Yeah.
So, and that's just PA members. There's 30,000. If USAPL did that, at $10 a month times 30,000 members, $300,000, $1.5 million a year. I mean, I made a post about that. Imagine what $1.5 million would do. Imagine what you could do. You could rent the Sphere.
And I think, and the thing, I think you can justify that once, like, we're in the second half of the year. Unfortunately, nothing big has happened. Like, the second half of the year really is kind of dead in powerlifting just because Worlds is kind of finishing up. Sheffield's not until New Year's. And that's where I think you've got, like what we were kind of talking about, those higher level meets. And if we have those higher level meets throughout the rest of the year, I think then they're like that streaming service makes a lot of sense. Like, I would totally do that.
No. So, yes, you're obviously right. But the streaming service would have other stuff.
Yeah, local meets and stuff working with
documentaries, and it would have talks other things. So I think that's where we should be going. We should be doing that first because that generates revenue.
Yeah, and
then we should be like the premiere event that should be on like an ESPN or on a live.
Yeah,
it should be on. And I've advocated for a long time that we should. Basically, I've gone as crazy as to say we should just take the top 2 in each weight class and then do and then make it 2 nights and just those 2 events are it because that would be really watchable. And I don't want to get too much into this because it's I don't want to continue to what I would call, pardon my French, mental masturbation, where you just think of all these great ideas and you just don't do it. Like it's especially for someone like me who's like had a hard time getting from one pro duel to a bigger one. Like, it's just time to just do something rather than talk about.
We could dream all day and
exactly. It's just not. It's not worth it. Now, I'm someone who dreams and does. I like to do both. But at this point, like, because we literally haven't progressed as a sport since 2022. We haven't progressed. We didn't progress this year. Prize money didn't go up. Viewership didn't go up this year. So, like, we haven't progressed. So, like, we do need to create, like, to not progress in one of the best climates for live sports. If you guys don't know, NFL, NBA, every single sport is signing record contracts. Like, we are in the best climate ever. With the rise of streaming, there's no live content anymore. So advertisers don't have anything to spend on except for sports, because it's the only live things people watch. 98 out of 100 of the top watched live programs were NFL games. So like if you're looking, if the fact that we haven't been able to capitalize on one of the greatest times of live sports ever is, it just shows that we need to do something different. And so we just have to do it. It's kind of I think the point. But yeah, anything else on that? I do want to transition to the drug testing topic, because I know people have been hanging out for that one.
No, I mean, I don't have much. I mean, I think what you said, there's a good idea there of having whether it's an app or something where you can either connect all the meets to one. Like, it would be easy to have let's say, like, I've got the ESPN app on my phone. And you can easily click either on a game and look at, like, Gamecast on there, where you can see all the stats of the players, where they go. Like, I'm on there often if I'm, like, out of the house, but I want to know what's going on with the game. All right, hey, Sebastian's hosting a meet, and I want to know how this guy's doing. Let me click on it. Go to the lifting cast is already connected through, like, the game cast or whatever you want to call it. I've just got to find my person. Boom, they're doing this. All right, well, I want to see pretty much like a PA oriented lifting cast, where you also have connections maybe with, like, the live streaming software being connected with the lifting cast. So pretty much, if I see you have a meet, I can click on it. All right, cool. There's a live stream link board. There's the game lifting cast right next to each other, where I can see both of them at the same time. I think something like that would be awesome. If you could design a ESPN app where it kind of captures that, where, all right, there's these meets happening in this coming week. Here's all the information for them, start times, and all that stuff.
Here's what I would say to that. That's why having a good partner, like when you do that deal with CBS Sports, CBS Sports has all that stuff already. And they do it for free for the leagues. They don't charge the leagues to put the stats on their app. So what I would say is, powerlifting just needs to get popular enough where someone's just going to do that, right? Like that's the issue. The issue is not, oh, someone should create this app. The issue is we should just make powerlifting popular enough that ESPN has our stats on there. Like that's what we should be working towards. And I mean, obviously the current ecosystem and the nonprofit status causes all those problems, right? Lack of content. There's all kinds of other issues. And that's why I said, sometimes if we like everything you are talking about, you want is downstream from just a proper infrastructure, right?
Oh, I agree.
Like that's what the problem is. We're in this weird infrastructure.
Makes things a little more complicated.
All right. Speaking of weird infrastructure, let's talk about drug testing. Okay. So I not only stand on my claim that we should not be drug testing on the local level, I doubled down on it. And I don't know if I want to like continue to explain my logic. Our goal is to have a clean sport, right? That's our goal. We want a clean sport. However, we are because we are a WADA affiliate, because we want to be in the Olympics, right? Whether you like that idea or not, that's the goal. That's been our goal. That's been the goal. It's never, because we want to be in the Olympics, we have to be a WADA signatory. Because we're a WADA signatory, our drug testing has to be conducted by a third-party WADA affiliate. Okay?
Yes.
We have guardrails on what we can do, right? Because in order for people to be tested, they have to be tested by WADA. That is extremely expensive, right? The test itself is not the expensive part. What's expensive is getting a person, just like we talked about referees out to your meet, getting a specific person out to a meet, flying first class, because they're hoity-toity and they're WADA, out to a meet is very, very, very expensive, okay? So while you may like the idea of having drug testing at a local meet, right now, it's just not feasible. It's like, I think average $2,000 per drug test. And you may not like that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I've got a federation for you, right? But you don't want to go there, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to go there? Because it's not competitive, okay?
Yeah.
So guess what? You have to live in the current environment we're in, okay? So I have proposed this, and I think it's pretty reasonable given the current economic issue. We don't need to be testing people at local meets because they're fairly fun and recreational and they're not that serious. However, should you hit a certain total, you should be put into an out-of-meet testing pool, right? If you're at a certain high level, you go into an out-of-meet testing pool and you get tested several times a year, which is exactly how it works now, right? The problem is there's economics are involved, okay? Damn right I'll put the piss in the fridge. No, so here's how it goes. So I'm gonna re-articulate. This is how the USAPL does it. One of the referees taps you, hey, you're gonna get drug tested. That referee is probably your friend because everyone's friends with everyone at meets, right?
Yeah.
That referee then watches you pee, okay? And if you're a minor, you have to have like a parent. You have to have a chaperone. You got to, which is crazy, okay? No other sport does that, by the way. And so then they put the pee in the FedEx bag, okay? They seal the FedEx bag, and then they give me as the meet director the FedEx bag. I then put it in the fridge because it's the weekend, so I can't bring it to FedEx. Then I go in the fridge on Monday. I take it out. I put it in my trunk, and then I bring it to the FedEx. That is not a legit way to drug test, okay? That's not the like. All of us are friends. Like it's not done by a third party. That's like some Russian shit. That's literally what Russia did in the documentary Icarus. It was state-sponsored doping. They altered the samples. We can't do that, okay? As much as you want, we just cannot do that. Those drug tests probably won't hold up in a court.
Yeah.
No, then yes, kind of, but the whole point is that a third party, it's just, I can't do it. It needs to be a third party. Then you've probably actually been tested.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, WADA needs to. Yes, Icarus is the name of the documentary. Yes, I quoted it right. So again, back to kind of the whole thing. So the reason I think it was such a hot button. I mean, dude, everyone was in my comments. Jessica Butner and Angelina Fortune, they were all in my comments. Like, I'm like, guys, one, reality. Okay, we don't have the money to do that. Okay, that's one. Two, we don't need to be testing people at a local meet just because that's how USAPL did it.
Yeah.
Well, we need to test the people who are actually good enough to deserve to test. We don't need to test a Team 3 who broke a state record.
Yeah.
Like, we need to test people who are actually exceeding like normal expectations, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people we need to be testing. We don't need the reason you test people at the local meet is because everyone's there at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I still think we should test at nationals because that'll save us money. We test all those people who get in the room at the same time. And so, like, my personal belief is you hit a certain threshold. So it's all about how much we can afford, right?
Yeah.
If we can afford X number of drug tests, that means we can do X number of OMTs. So that means whatever number of athletes we can afford. Plastic PP cups that get used at a temp agencies given by your buddy who passed a multi-choice test. I'm screenshotting this. That was so good.
That's funny. No,
There's more to
I mean,
a local ref unqualified use. Yes. So I mean, that's kind of besides the. I mean, kind of it's then you're 100% true. 100% accurate. But my kind of point is just that like a local meet is like for like fucking off. Like it's for having a good time.
Yeah.
Like and like we do need to create a second tier of local meets that are like more competitive for sure. And like I don't discount either of those things. But we can only test a certain number of people OMT and like as you start to hit a certain threshold, those are the people we need to test. And then as we make more money and as the organization grows, we can do more OMTs. And I think that's how you keep the sport relatively clean. I did have an idea that I think it wouldn't be the end of the world. It would not be the end of the world. I still am not 100% for it. It wouldn't be the end of the world if 2 or 3 times a year we set WADA to just random ass local meets to test people, test random ass people just to keep people on their toes. Like I said, the IRS, they pop one person, one celebrity for tax fraud every single year, just to keep everyone else like in line.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we need to do. I mean, maybe. I don't know. We still don't
No, I
test
mean,
enough.
I
We don't
think
test enough of the serious athletes, so we can't do that yet.
well, I think would be one of the things that'd be good. So like, if the athletes that are getting out to be drug tested also posted it more. So we got told someone we know that competed at Sheffield. We know who they were, and the gym they train at let us knew. Like, yeah, she got called up right before we came down for state meet. Hey, by USADA. Hey, why aren't you at your house? You need to be drug tested. And she went to like gym 10 minutes earlier. It was just a really cool story, but it was like she got drug tested. I know, like Jonathan Keiko won't say when he gets drug tested. Like some of these higher levels, if they kind of like, it's something small, just kind of
Well,
post, yeah, I got
they're
drug
in the
tested.
IPF pool. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
like
know.
that's as legit as like that's so the reason drug testing is such a hot button is not because we actually have a problem with it. I don't think there's one person that we can name from the U.S. that we actually think is on stuff. The reason it's such a hot button topic is it's because what USAPL people use, it's what people who don't like the IPF use as like a wedge.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
that's
agree.
it literally no one thinks these people are doping. These people get tested as
Yeah.
frequently as they need to be.
Don't get me wrong. I think drug testing is good. There's nothing wrong with doing more drug testing. Like I think just overall, if money wasn't an object, it's if money's
I
not
know
an
what you're sorry.
object.
Okay, money's okay.
Yeah, money's not an object. It's like I'm never gonna be mad that we're doing too much drug testing. Like
Yes,
that's
but
never something.
the problem is money is an
Yeah,
object. Like
yes,
like
money
I'm
is an
not
object.
like people are like oh man, we should be paying this money. I'm like, dude, you're telling me I'm going to pay a couple $1,000s for drug testing
Oh
at a
yeah,
local meet when I could put that into a prize pool for something lifters actually care about? Like
yeah,
that's what lifters actually care about. Lifters do you if you want any more of a testament to lifters not caring about drug testing, it's the transition from every single athlete from USAPL
yeah.
to PA. Okay?
And there's a
Lifters
reason we're
do not
exposed.
care.
Yeah, because I mean, also at the end of the day, like you said it earlier, if your local meet that you hosted at your gym, the best lifter got a 400 dots, they probably don't need to be drug tested. Like 400 is very strong. It is. It's good, but it's not like we need
Thank
to
you.
lose our
Thank
mind saying,
you. My $400.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm right at 400 too. Like I know I shouldn't be drug tested. I've got no reason to be like I ain't that strong. I know that. But it's a like that's just how it is, and we're talking 10%. It's like, all right, your best lifter got 400, well the next three below that got like 300, 350. It's a realistically, I don't think we need to be wasting drug tests there. Like just when we're talking about the whole local thing, and we're talking about like because they were the 10% of who you're going to drug test. I mean, I think it's good. I think it should be definitely more open on like maybe who like just athletes that are like trying to kind of show off. They're kind of like the faces of PA. It doesn't hurt if they
I'm
post.
pretty sure there's a list of every
I'm pretty
drug
sure,
test.
but I'm saying like
I'm pretty
social
sure that
media
is public
saying
record.
like a social media. I mean, social media is not everything, but I think it's a. If I get drug tested, I think that's awesome. I think that's kind of cool honor. Even when I was like,
Oh yeah, no, in
yeah.
USAPL, if you got the pink
Oh
paperwork,
yeah,
it was like they would take pictures with that. And like
oh yeah.
I mean I like stuff like that, but
Well, I'm
like
saying for the higher athletes, just to kind of emphasize, yes, drug testing is going on. Like I know it's going on because I know these people. Like they said, yeah, I literally got drug tested last night.
yeah.
And say like that's to me that's kind of cool.
And that goes
Like
just
that's a,
I just want to bitch a little bit about the lack of communication. Like communication is not just telling people information. Communication is also part of marketing. Like what's our message? What is PA's message? Right? And like you also not only like PA's message is obviously this is the path to world, but like you also have to counter the negative messaging. So if USAPL's message is we do better testing, blah 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 blah, you can say, well, we do better testing in a different way, right? And you just have to like
yeah, we do
articulate
higher
that.
quality instead of higher quantity.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
mean
could
they
choose
do.
quantity or quality.
Yes, they've done some decent stuff in terms of like obviously one of PA's big critiques is we don't have enough local meets, and so well no that is 100% a PA issue. Okay, so I've
Yes,
talked about this before.
but there
Okay,
was no market.
no,
Sorry, but
no,
it's a like on our
but
end for
you
Georgia.
create the market. We create the market.
Yes.
Actually
So,
have a meet on schedule in order to create a. So here,
we're talking
I'm
about
going to tell
this.
you exactly what I want to do.
Owning a gym is completely different though when I've got to pay 5,000 for a venue
No, no,
to
no.
risk it
I get
all.
what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But this is what I would do. Okay, I'm God King of PA. Okay, I actually have this chart. I take the 100 top media markets. Okay, I put them on a list, and I do Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. I do 4 columns, and I go and we sit in a round table and we go, is there a meet in Brooklyn, New York, in Q1? Yes, X. Is there a meet in Atlanta area? Yes, all 4 quarters, great. Chicago, all 4 quarters, great. Any time there isn't a meet in all 4 quarters, I'm literally calling every single gym and I'm saying, hey, can I host a meet there? Can we host a meet there? That's what I'm doing. And then I'm either going to find a local director or I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to fly out there and I'm going to run a 20-person
Yeah.
meet. That's just what you do. And a 20-person meet at 150 an entry is $3,000. Okay? That covers all your costs, and then you have ticketing and on top of that. That's what I'm doing. And actually, I might do this on my own just because it sounds like fun. But
And I'm just saying, all I'm saying is we've done the exact same thing. Our market was small very early on in the year. Like the DNA meet was one of the bigger meets there, but
your dad's being spicy.
well, they don't in the slightest.
So okay, right. I don't think they don't because they hate local directors, because a lot of them are local directors. I think they don't just because they don't have time for it. I don't know what the
Yeah, I mean
hey,
we got
they care enough to bring me into a call because my spotters forgot to put the safeties on.
yeah, but I mean the like the local meet thing, like we knew our market was low, but we only had a meet, and like our latest meet was in April. And then the next meet was Atlanta Open in September. We're like, we can't wait this long. We know that's a big gap. You tend to forget about it. So we put a meet together. I think it was the end of June, June 23rd or something.
Oh,
Because like we
Zen,
have to have something.
hold on. Zen, DM me about that. I'll be more than happy to help.
That's
Like whatever you
good.
guys. I'll drive out equipment and stuff.
Yeah. But
I love
like back
Colorado.
to yeah, that's a big
I
drive. Um,
don't give a fuck. I love Colorado. Like Colorado's so
Colorado's
nice.
nuts. But like for us, it's we knew we had to do this because like marketing. If you wait 6 months, they're gonna forget about you. Like when we knew that, we couldn't do about
Bro,
that. So
they'll forget about you if you don't post every week.
I know exactly. And so we're gonna host this meet, but for us, we worked with Alpharetta and a local private school, and we only got 14 lifters. 14. And I mean, you can run the math. 14, 150. Let's just call it an even. 14 times 14, I believe that's 196. So call it 1,960 ish. Well, the venue's over $1,000. Our transportation is nearly $1,000. Now we've got the volunteers we paid for, the referees we paid for, the shirts that we pay for, the medals we pay for. Like I love saying we could do this, but for like us, it's not that simple. Like even a small meet where we got a pretty cheap, nice venue that worked out with us, we're still at a loss for possibly a couple grand because
Sure.
normally
So
we have,
hold on. When you're trying to open up a market, I would not be renting venues. I would just I understand. I totally like. I'm not asking people to do that. I'm
yeah.
asking that in markets where there are not any meets, we run 1 or 2 meets inside of gyms.
Yeah.
Because if you go to a gym owner and say, "I'll give you the door for them to do no work," they're gonna say yes. Like,
Sometimes they say yes.
okay, then there's plenty of gyms, there's plenty of CrossFit gyms, there's plenty of options. Just keep calling people until you find them. Because when
So
I was calling gyms in Colorado, it really wasn't like.
the thing is also for us, like I've said, Valhalla, we bring our things. We're only gonna bring quality. We're gonna bring in and drop like that 14-person meet. We brought and dropped 5 full Eleiko platforms.
Right.
Everything. Like that's a yes. We go stupid. That's 100% it. But that's our model. Like that's what we want to be recognized for. We bring the highest quality no matter where you're going. If it's a meet presented by Valhalla Performance or hosted by Valhalla Performance, you're going to one of, if not the highest quality meets. Like that's our marketing. We've done that at Atlanta Open, did that Valhalla Weights, that small meet. Yeah, it was 14 lifters. We brought 5 full sets plus all of our electrical equipment. Like that's what we're doing. No matter what, our state meet, same thing. We brought 2 truckloads of 8
Yeah, yeah,
platforms.
yeah. I guess I don't want people to get too like. That's obviously like great. That's what you guys do. That's what we want. But what I'm saying is there are certain pockets outside of there that we need to be running some small, at least qualifier meets for people in
Yep,
markets that are. I mean, I bet you that Colorado meet. Then I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure of the market. I bet you that Colorado meet gets 30 lifters. Like
that'd be good.
probably.
First meet, that's good.
There's probably a couple. I mean, Colorado USAPL is pretty big. So you're
Think
telling me
so.
you do one meet there that's like decent.
They used to
Um,
host Nats there. I know
yeah,
they gotta have a market.
I mean, there's probably a ton of lifters, but like, guess what? If there aren't options, they're not going. I mean, look at Minnesota. Minnesota had no meets because of the whole transgender thing, and then you have no idea how in shape I am for a big guy. You have no idea. I'm the most in shape big guy you'll ever meet.
And
I
I've
will
been
be.
there. It's
That's if
brutal.
I say I got dehydration is legit.
Yeah.
Then,
But I don't know if you read what my dad said about the things like us, like just calling, saying it how it is. Like we were against USAPL. Pretty much that's how it was. PA, like we could beat around the bush, but for us, PA versus USAPL, and that was our thing. And for us, like, and I mean, this is a
Zach.
special situation. Uh, thank you, Zen. Like that's how we decided to compete. Like they hosted almost every single meet at one gym. Like that was like their HQ. And for
Yeah.
us, it was we're not doing that. Like we weren't going to do that. Presenting a new product and a new market for because if we did that,
Listen,
nobody would have any interest to swap over.
I'm deciding to compete against myself and move into bigger venues too.
If you
So I totally agree with
haven't
what you're
noticed,
saying.
our venues keep stacking up bigger and
Yes,
bigger each time.
yes.
We're
And
doing
when
the
I
same
saw
thing.
what you guys did, I'm like, all right, my turn, my
Yeah.
turn.
Oh, perfect. We've been waiting for someone to compete against.
Yeah, I know. I can't compete with anyone in Illinois, so I got to go cross country.
Yeah.
Um,
Same here.
but yeah. Actually looking at my thing. I'm probably actually going to do. Yeah, so this is the venue I'm looking at. I'll swap for people. So this is the church. So
Yeah.
this is about $5,000 for the day.
That's it's not horrible.
It's a
That's really
fucking steal. It's a steal.
yeah. That's really
So
not bad.
they do the live stream. They have the craziest camera setup you've ever seen. They got the floating cameras. They got
Oh, they oh
everything. Mics, broadcast headsets, everything.
yeah. Like for that and the price, because normally, like if we were to do a video like that, it would be that plus all of the hourly of the workers on either camera, the per station, the
Yeah,
wall, if you want to use lighting, all
that
that stuff.
includes. I think it gets up to like 6,000
That's
when you
still
add.
good. That's still really good, man.
This is another one. I don't like this one because the LED screen. I don't want the LED screen directly behind the platform.
I got you. Yeah, we're working on. We got one in mind. We got a couple in mind for different events, but one of ours we're gonna look at that. What's brutal is going to these nicer, bigger venues is they'll give you like a day rate, but then there's
Oh, loaded.
20-hour things or 20 unit prices. That's I want one price. That's it. Give me one price. That's what I want to see, and we'll base it off of that.
Right, a final quote. You need a final
Yeah.
quote. I get where you want to price everything out individually because everything is different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you need a final price. And then here's what I would do. So let's say the venue is something obnoxious, $15,000, right? But it's like
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to work. Here's what I would do. I would put down a budget, and then I would like do how much do I need to charge for entry, how much do I need to charge for ticketing, and then like do a poll. Be like, hey, this is the venue we're going to go to. This is what we're going to do. This is how much it's going to cost. Would you guys be cool with that?
Yeah.
Show pictures of the venue. Be like, hey, this is what we want to do. Are you cool with that? If you get like 100 people who are like, yeah, then you can do it. It's just you have to calibrate the economics.
The one problem with that is it's easy for me to click yes on something on a Instagram story before committing $200 to a registration fee. Like
No, I
I get and can
totally.
appreciate that idea, but if I posted on my story, hey, we're gonna go to this Sheffield-esque theater where we're gonna host Atlanta Open Prime Time, are y'all open to charging 225? for a ticket, and it's easy for people to see the venue and in the moment be like, yes, that's awesome, let's do it, and then it actually comes about, and it's a well, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess what I would try and do is just like when I build my economic modeling, what I do is I have a general idea of how many people are going to sign up, and then I know from previous, right? I'm not going to expand into bigger stuff until I have somewhat of a working model.
Yeah.
I have the numbers of things and people I want to do, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build in a 50% margin. So whatever my costs are 50%, my profits 50%. Because you're always going to lose 20% in bullshit, always. You're going to lose 20% in something stupid. Someone didn't show up, something didn't happen.
So what's your margin on a venue? Did you say?
I want before I do anything based off previous stuff, I want to make 50%.
Okay.
Because I know I'm going to lose 20% to something. I'm gonna go spend a bunch of money. I'm gonna go
That's
do something else. I know I'm gonna lose.
always how it is. Yeah.
It's always how it is. So I build in 50%. Sometimes you can build in like 30% because you know you might lose 10. So I have like a spreadsheet that tracks all this. Actually, we should do like a Zoom where like we pull up the spreadsheet
Yeah.
and put some.
Because I mean, I would give anything. Me personally, I'd give anything for a 50% margin.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
that's like unheard of.
like
Like
that's
if you
a
make it if you make
insane.
it 20%, that's sick.
Yeah.
But also when you do your modeling, you have to put in to do it properly. You have to put in your own like salary.
Yeah.
Like if you don't put in your own salary, then it's not a real business. Like you have to put in your own fake salary in order to really get a correct margin.
Yeah.
So I wish I had this. Let me see if I can. I think I calculated that if I did a single day 100 lifter meet at one of these venues, I would be making that 50% margin, assuming I charge $155 each, charge for t-shirts.
I mean, you're talking 15K. The venue's gonna cost six. Let's say six. So you're at nine. Transportation of equipment. You're talking probably 15. So you're at 75 there. But then you're gonna probably need the volunteers to unload everything. Like us, we spent
Yeah, but you're
about.
not adding ticketing. Ticketing is like huge.
And I can get ticketing, yeah, but there's still all of the. Are you having one platform or two platforms? How many sessions? Are you paying by a session? Like we pay our people by the
Yeah.
per platform, per session, like all that fun jazz. Like even like the venue we went for states, it was that there's just so much small stuff. Then it's like the catering for all of our volunteers, make sure they're getting all that. Like we spent hundreds of dollars, probably up to worth of $1,000+ just on the food for them, at least minimum. And that was for like snacks, that was lunch, but we had 20 plus volunteer. We had almost 30 volunteers
Sure.
for
I'm
that.
gonna hop out. I'm gonna hop out for 1 second and
Okay.
I'll get that number.
I don't know if it's just me now or what.
I'm back.
Okay.
So 108 lifter meet, which would be because I have all the God. I need
Two
to find it.
platforms, two sessions, 28 each.
Yes,
Okay.
$100 per staff per session. I think I put in 18 staff into
So you're
there.
talking at least 3K and just volunteers, lad.
I'm gonna email myself the picture so that I can look at it on my.
I got you. I mean, if you're talking, I mean, it's definitely, I don't want to say realistic.
Okay, give me a second because I did it. It is very feasible. From what I was.
I mean, it overall depends. I mean, have you hosted a meet that's not in a gym?
Yes. Oh, not in a gym, but in a venue where I split costs, which is basically the same thing.
Uh,
Because
yeah, I mean,
if I'm giving
Like also, like for us, obviously the biggest thing is just random costs coming out of the blue. That's definitely the biggest ones. Whether
Yeah.
it's different like insurances, like we have to get different insurances for every meet we go to and what we do. Making sure we're covered, venues covered, uh, all that fun jazz, and then just all the random equipment. There's always something that you need out of the blue. Like for us, it may be all right. We need to get just new electrical equipment. Something went wrong. Something went bad, broken. Got to replace it. Like yeah, yeah. I think just if you if you want to pursue that, I'm just
Okay,
telling you, it's a lot of stuff comes out of the blue.
so here's what I had. So the space rental, I had $5,000. I had 500 in transportation. Let's say you say that's 1,500.
Yeah,
And
because then not only transportation, uh, you're probably gonna hire people to help move it. Those are normally expensive, even if it's a college or something. Like, I mean, we definitely pay a good bit to have our volunteers. Like, we'll pay a local college that we like a decent amount, but just once you get to like those things, like our biggest thing is we would
so
save.
so here, I'm gonna do the full breakdown because I have everything in the spreadsheet.
Okay.
So this is 108. So this is how I built this model out is it's 2 morning sessions, 2 afternoon sessions, and 1 lifter primetime session. So I'm actually taking a hit because I'm doing that primetime session. We get an average of, and this is a low estimate, we get an average of 3 spectators per lifter. That
Mm,
includes coaching passes.
I'm gonna say this. I highly disagree. Yeah, we just from our two biggest meets, Atlanta Open and our state meet, we've averaged more to the closer to 2 to 2.5. And our Atlanta Open prime time is one of the biggest things in the Southeast. That's all like
Okay, so
to
I have a pretty robust mailing list and I do a pretty robust early ticketing thing. So I would consider maybe adding that stuff in. But I've averaged 4. So I'm actually
okay.
undershooting. I'm undershooting that.
Okay.
That's based on all the historical data I have.
That's fair then.
So I'm looking at and that's actually low amount of ticketing, like $6,000 in ticketing. So I'm making $22,000. That doesn't include T-shirts. So this is because T-shirts are just fucking random. Don't even care. So in expenses, I have 5. So this included a prize pool, by the way.
Okay.
So I had $5,000 for space rental. I had
What
250.
type of what type of
250.
venue are you getting for 5K? Because for us,
I'm getting that church for 5. Okay, here.
you're
So I
not
have
going to be able to do two platforms though on that.
I have a. You can do 2 platforms on that stage with that. Oh yeah, you can easily.
No,
You got to see how
you
big that stage is.
have to have at least 50 feet wide to do a reasonable two platform thing.
That stage is. The yellow box, maybe not community, but the yellow box is definitely to do 2 platforms. Anyway,
Yeah.
the expenses scale either way. So, like, if you do fewer sessions, you're going to have fewer staff costs, which for me is like a big
Yeah.
chunk of what we're doing. So
We
let's
we can share expense reports
yeah.
later
So
on.
let's say I cut the prize pool because you probably don't need that. You cut the prize pool and you add that to the space rent. So it's 10K for a space, 250 in insurance, 500 in transportation. Let's make that 1,500 for the
215 in shirts.
250.
200. What do you mean 250
$250 for insurance.
for the shirt?
Or no, insurance.
Oh,
Insurance.
insurance. Oh, okay. Normally it's okay. Ours normally around yeah, a little bit more, but that's fair.
Sure, 250, 500, whatever. I mean, I think it depends on what the venue requires.
Yeah.
1,080 for drug testing, 5,400 for staff. That's at $100 per staff per session. Medals was 918. I did a medal per lifter, which is like usually how it goes because people are not in the weight class.
Yeah.
So that's 18,087. It's going to be 19,087 when we add in the extra 1,000 you think for transportation.
Now, transportation for like the
1,500. I put 1,500 in here because that's what you said.
okay.
So that's 19. That's nine. So that adds $1,000 to what my estimate is.
So you're left.
So that
You're left with 2 to 3.
you're left with 4,500. Oh, sorry.
19.
Sorry. It'll be 3,500 when you add. It'll be 3,500 extra dollars.
Okay. Now, I mean, at least on our end, this is how we also have to view it is a not just the day of, but the 6 months prior of everything that has to go into it
Right.
beforehand. Six
That's
months
why.
of time.
That's why I said you have to add your.
Yeah.
So then.
Because we also have a storage unit we have every single month that
Yeah.
ticks,
So.
and every single
So
month is cost us
here's
that
what I
much.
would do. Here's what I would do. What I would do is now this is where you do the adjustment, right? The adjustment is you have that 155 entry cost. If you adjust that every
It's only
$10,
500.
that gives you an extra $1,000.
Every $10 that gets you an extra $1,000
If you charge
bucks.
an extra $10
Oh,
times
every
100
100
lifters,
lifters.
yeah.
That's okay. I get what you're saying. I mean, yes, and for like we don't like the idea of increasing it. We're now at the point where that's kind of where we're ending up to being. Like we pretty much have to. Like what you just said, honestly sounds like a pretty fair, kind of accurate pricing model. But for
Yeah, I
us,
mean, here's where you need to the when I look at this budget, what I see is the $10,000 for the space rental. I'm looking at facilities that are. I'm trying to find a facility that's like.
I would say meet in the middle at like
Yeah,
75. If you're wanting
I
a
mean, I'm
pretty
just
good,
facilities that are that.
like I mean,
Unless I can get.
and we've gone facilities like I'll say like our state meet was more than that. Like our state meet was more than that, and it's brutal for sure, but it's a to pursue that higher level and those kind of qualities of spaces like that's like 5 is the bare
Yeah,
bones
I
minimum.
think the solution is a couple things. Solution, okay, say if you can't get a cheaper space, then I think you probably just have to, and you can't control this obviously, but I would try and do 2 platforms, 3 sessions, right? I would try and get that, like,
But then you're talking you
you
need that
need
100
more staff, right? You need more
more
staff.
staff, and then it's the lifters. Like you still have to find the lifters. For in the state of Georgia, we're maybe around 250 ish, maybe pushing in on 300. But now probably half of those people are going to want to go to nationals. The other half is probably going to do states. So then it's finding that perfect timeline in the middle to get the sweet spot of trying to get that 100 something athletes. And to say that we're going to do that not at a state meet when that's the biggest meet we've hosted is something we can't base off of. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. I love the idea of the bigger, better, and just going above and beyond. But for us, like this has been our market that we've been working with for 3 years. Like we have been working, building. We know the size of the market. And we know it's realistic for at least Georgia. Like Georgia, at least. Like for us, it's hard for us to say, okay, we're gonna do a $20,000 venue. We're gonna have a $5,000 prize
Yeah,
pool.
no,
It's
I
gonna
mean,
attract
you can't, I mean,
well,
then
to say it's
you're,
going to attract the entire like southeast, like for our end, is such a fantasy of ours. Like we don't have a pool like SBD Raleigh. Like I know people have traveled out of state southeast just to come and help volunteer for that because they wanted to go and be there. Like us, I'd love to think Atlanta Open and shout out to Elizabeth Turner because she's the one that allows us to host that meet. She's the one that built a great name for it, and we're trying to do like our part to build it up. And we hope we could get it at some point like that. Like we'd love to get it where the Atlanta Open Prime Time is considered one of those, like everyone in the Southeast wants to come, but
yeah. I,
realistically, it's not
so,
something
I
we can
mean,
depend on.
I would love to. I mean, obviously, my MPG Madness meet I think is going to be one of my better meets in terms of financials for myself
Yeah.
and experience for the lifters. I think the lifters are going to get a super good value. There's a $2,500 prize pool, plus I'm going to make a couple bucks on it.
Yeah.
It's going to be because it's going to be 48 lifters. I charged 145 for entry. I'm obviously doing it at the gym, so there's no venue cost.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try and circle back and do the same meet at a venue next year. So I'm
Yeah.
going to have to adjust variables in terms of this stuff. But like I think it's good. You're like, hey, maybe this is going to be a little more expensive. Maybe this is going to be, and that's the challenge of business is okay,
Yeah,
how can I cut expenses here? What can I do here?
because we
How can I still provide?
we've been hit with just random stuff. Like we'll see a venue and they'll tell us this is the price. We're like, okay, we know how much so and so is, so and this is because we've been doing it, shirts, medals, all that fun stuff, and just stuff pops up out of the blue. Like, oh crap! All right, they said they need a minimum coverage on insurance. Like it's gonna cost $500-700. Like, okay, we know. Oh no, all of the colleges, none of them are able to volunteer. I gotta get someone from out of state to come and help out. Oh, none of my referees can do it because they're competing.
For 30 seconds, I'll be back.
Okay.
You both right.
Right here.
Oh no, you're still here. Okay.
Yeah.
I probably should have done a uniform break.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep
anyway,
it
yeah,
loyalty.
I mean, I think that's why I like to build that margin in. So
Yeah. No, I mean it's like obviously we go stupid. You've seen some of our meets, and the prices get a little bit like I hate to say out of hand, like we're kind of careless about it, but like it's definitely like just they kind of build up, like they build up out of nowhere, and then the months of doing it. Like me personally, like all right, we've got 3,500. You said left over. Well, if I'm working for 6 months on this one meet that I'm about to please 100 plus athletes of, not only that, it's a I'm bringing what $100,000 worth of equipment. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to host 34 more of these just to cover any of the equipment, not to talk about the maintenance, not to talk about replacements, but we're talking 33, 34 meets to cover the cost of the equipment I'm bringing just for me to slave away in a truck for 12 hours, setting up, breaking down, breaking my back. Like me and my dad, we and my sister, like we had to take like a week off from everything. Like
yeah,
we couldn't function Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Like it was just we have to sit here. Me personally, like it's getting to the point where it's almost not worth it. Like we're breaking
but
ourselves doing
and I
this.
think that's where you have to play. That's where you have to be. You have to kind of step away from being an operator of the meets, and you have to go be a spreadsheet guy, and you have to go look at your spreadsheet, and you have to go, hey, this just doesn't this just does the numbers don't make sense. They don't add up, and that's where business comes into play. And that's why I like to have this conversation because I think we can get better at our spreadsheet and we can say, hey, these are what our costs are. These are where we can. This is where we can nip and tuck. Like I look at the spreadsheet and I go, yeah, I mean, I think if I can do so here's the key. Okay, number one, I got to find a space that's $5,000, right? If I can't, then it's probably gonna be really hard to run the meet.
Yep.
It just is. I can do it for 10,000 because I don't do a prize pool anymore. It's kind of lame, but whatever. Um,
You could say 75 and a $2,500 prize pool. That's cool. Like all
right.
75,
I think that's pretty good because you could give 500 to the best
yeah.
lifter each.
Like
Yeah.
75, you can find a pretty good venue. Now we've gotten lucky. Like the state meet was more expensive than that, and we got it for a good deal compared to their normal rates. Like it's definitely a hard thing to do still. Like we talk
What
about,
did it cost you for that state meet?
I'll say it was more than 75, more than 75. Like
Okay.
it was expensive, but we're going and like we're talking about it now. We want to talk about these tier one local meets that are in gyms, but now we want to talk about these tier two or these premier meets. Like that's what we want to do. Like we'd love to do it. That's why we do it. Or else we could go to any gym like Georgia. There's 7 gyms in Metro Atlanta. I could point out and say, all right, we could host a meet here and save 5-6 grand like that. Like that'd be awesome. Would love that. But like what we want to do is we want to host those premier meets because we think there's something more to the sport that could be brought, and we think it's what everybody wants. All right, well, we got to make sure it's a beneficial on both sides. I don't want to kill myself breaking my back just for someone that's in a prize pool makes more money than I do hosting the actual meet.
Yep, and that's why I said that's where it's a spread. It now becomes a spreadsheet game. It becomes how can you manipulate your spreadsheet? Because when I look at these numbers, if I'm making $4,500 for, I know there's a lot of ramp up, but I've gotten pretty good at the ramp up. I know there's a lot of work in between, but if you're telling me I'm making $4,500 for a 2-day event,
I'll take that all day. Like, don't
Yeah,
get me
I mean
wrong.
that's where we want to be. I mean, I think okay.
But at the end of the day, it's like on our end, we've got a storage that ticks every month. On
Yes,
yours,
yes,
you have a gym that ticks
yes.
every month. Now, obviously, we're in two different situations where mine's I don't get to do anything to cover it for probably 3 to 4 months minimum, and then it's like that 4,500. That's nice. That saves me enough time until the next meet. Like it's not that 45 would have been nice if that's what I ended up actually coming out with, but it's no. That's from the 4 months ago. The storage I've had to pay leading up to our next meet. So to me, that 45 it's awesome, but it's already been spent or gonna be spent in the next 4 to 5 months preparing for our next big meet.
Yeah. So Zen. Yeah, I want to. I'm sorry, I was reading Zen's thing, but I think it'll be a good topic. So Zen, here's what you do. I promise you, there's no gym owner that owns a powerlifting gym that's making $30,000 a month. So you call him up and you offer him $1,000 to use all his equipment and not have to do any work. He's going to say yes. And if he doesn't say yes, he's an idiot because he's going to take $1,000. He's not going to make $1,000 on a Saturday. So you offer him $1,000 and all you got to do is sell 10 entries and you broke even. So like, just you got to put yourself in their shoes, right? And you got to also sell them. And I can help you with this. Like sell them on the fact that, hey, I'd love to help. Like you don't have to do anything. That's the first thing. Don't tell the gym owner you don't have to do anything. We got it. We're giving you $1,000 for the day. And then what you do is you say, don't run the meet until you've sold the entries. So you go, there's no risk. I'm only going to pay the gym owner. You pay him $500 before you move in and $500 after. You do split it 50-50. So he has no risk, $500 up front, $500 on the back end. Like, exactly. That's exactly my point. Most owners aren't making money or breaking even. So call them up and offer them $1,000. They're not going to say no. You could probably get away with $500. I would say this is what I would do too. I would go, hey, first time, no guarantee, $500, right? If we do another one, if it goes well and we do another one of these, then we'll renegotiate. That's what I would do. That's kind of probably the smart way to do it. If you're talking, like, what do you guys do when you go to Alabama?
When we went to Alabama, we actually we were invited out there because Billy Q. I don't know if you know who he is,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah,
been
yeah.
great. Yeah, love him. He they want to grow PA in Alabama, and he already had a gym kind of lined up that he knew of, so it worked out perfectly. We actually worked with the gym, and it was a door situation. We let them keep the door, and they didn't have the powerlifting equipment. They had some CrossFit jacks, but for us, it was again, it's a Valhalla meet. We want to show off. We want to grow because Alabama's the market. We talked to the USAPL people there, and we want to get them over. So we brought 4 Eleiko combo racks. We put 3 in the warm up room, 1 in the May room, and it's on our PA Alabama on the PA Alabama page, like pictures of the event. I think it looked great. Having a good photographer is always worth it at those meets. But
Yeah.
that's what we did. We
The
went to a local
photography,
gym.
sometimes I've been to meets and I'm like, this was not, and then I look at the pictures online, I'm like, this was not that nice. Good
Yeah,
job, photographers. Good job,
yeah.
photographers.
That's why they make the big bucks. But yeah, no, I mean it's definitely good. I mean
No
the gym
one,
looks great on its own.
no one makes more money than photographers at powerlifting meets. That's the most lucrative job in all of powerlifting is photography. Do you see
I
what they
think
charge for packages?
yes, I think it's good. I'm
Good.
not
No,
upset by it.
I'm not hating. Good for
Yeah,
them, but I'm like,
yeah.
there's nothing more lucrative than
Yeah,
than
I think it's
photography.
decent. I know they've got a lot of expenses to do that, so I'm not gonna be on the hate. I mean, you've got one transportation for lots of people. Most of the time, like nationals, they're flying their crew out. That's a couple $1,000 just to deal with them, the food for the trips, all the transportation. I mean, you can pay me what you want, but then it's still the time. Like photographers already, they already charge a decent price for their hourly. I mean, they have a name and they make money on it. And I'm not upset by it. Can't blame them
I'm
because
not either, but I want to talk. I want to talk. I want to call balls on strikes.
uh,
I had a photographer do me. She sold, so she was local too.
yeah,
She sold, I think it was 25 packages, at 150 a like 150 a package.
That's pretty
I'm like,
good. Yeah, we're just in the wrong business.
we are just in the wrong business.
No, I don't know. There's definitely more ways around it.
Well, here's what I
Powerlifting,
would say. Here's how I do it.
yeah,
My new thing is I will either, if you're doing media with me, whatever you charge your package, I'm adding $20 to it and I'm putting it on the website, and it all gets sold through Lifting Cast. So there's no reason I shouldn't be taxing the photographer for those packages. Absolutely no reason.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Now, do you
I
want to? Do you want to? I mean, I have the largest meets in the area. If you want to do it, you're gonna get taxed. Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're bringing the
then
people.
I'm definitely in the black. I mean, when we were talking about the spreadsheet, that implies a venue rental that I don't have. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean, overall,
I'm transparent with that. Like, I don't run meets to not make money. Like, we don't do that. Like, that's not healthy for anyone.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I don't know. There's a lot of moving
Listen,
parts.
if it were easy, everyone would do it, and you wouldn't make any money. It
Yeah,
wouldn't be like it's hard, so that's why people don't do it. Like, that's the end of the day.
yeah,
Well, yeah. No, I like this. I think we need to do another one where I actually pre-prep all the spreadsheet type stuff. I pre-prep quotes and stuff. I think it wouldn't be the end. I mean, I have a advanced business background. Like, I've been doing this for the past 6 years.
yeah.
Actually, I started my first business when I was 16 mowing lawns. So I have a good grasp on this stuff. I would love to do a full one where we talk about all this stuff. Because I think there's especially like maybe we do some research in Atlanta, find some different venues.
Yeah, and we're finalizing our 2025 calendar, so and we've got at least 2 to 3 big events planned for the second half of the year in Georgia. So I'll put together some of the venues, just kind of a look at what they kind of seem like.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to see what you guys are doing. I'm modifying what I'm doing because I'm tired of running meets at my gym. I mean, it's nice, it's great. We have a great setup, but it's not.
Yeah,
It could be better. And if we can make it financially feasible and make it better, then we're going to do that.
yeah, I get what you're saying. All right, well, Sebastian, I hate to do this.
Oh, no. I'm wrapping up too. Perfect
Okay.
timing. We got football on in 30 minutes. Time to grab a little bite and
Agreed. I agree. Got to watch the NFL game today.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys listening. Then DM me. We can hop on a call or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sebastian, I'll see you, man. It's good talking to you as
What's
always.
listen for commands. Thank you.
Have a good one, man.
Bye.